Among the cartoonists I loved as a kid, as I started to there was Popeye, Seagrass Popeye. But I also love the adventure strips, starting with Wash Tubbs, Roy Crane. Um, and then, as I got a little older, there was Milton Caniff in the Daily News and Terry and the Pirates, which was this astonishing exercise in realistic storytelling and movie images on paper. Um, and I was madly in love with him. And then I became aware in comic books of this guy Eisner, who didn't look like anybody else, who looked more gritty, somehow more, I don't know, he grabbed me. He didn't draw as well as Caniff, particularly in the early days, but he worked with different angles. I didn't realize it, but he was being influenced by German expressionism, and Caniff and Eisner became my two role models, the two guys that I loved the most. And I wanted to do an adventure strip the way they did. And Eisner did many strips in comic books before he ended up in his masterpiece, The Spirit. But by the time he was doing The Spirit and out of the service, he stopped doing it when he got drafted in 1942 and didn't return. He was 4 years in service. He came back, started again in 46. And I was just graduating from high school, needed a job, and decided, amazingly, because I had no courage at all, that I would look him up in the phone book, found he had an office on Wall Street, took my samples down there, and there he was in his outer office, and he couldn't be more genial and more welcoming until he looked at my samples, told me how shitty my work was. And I, who had spent my life figuring out how to deal with bad personal news, knew long before Donald Trump was deflecting, I understood the art of deflection. So if somebody was assaulting me by telling me my work was bad, I just changed the subject, and I changed the subject to Eisner and his work. And he learned in about 5 minutes that unlike all the people who were at his employ in the other office, who were his assistants turning out this 16-page comic book supplement called the Spirit Supplement, I knew everything about him. I knew his whole bio. I knew everything he had ever done. And I could talk cohesively and lovingly about his work. So by the end of that conversation, he had no alternative but to hire me as a groupie.